Cantos 91 to 93 of Book 2 of the Ramayana of Valmiki, translated by Ralph D. H. Griffith. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Om123. Canto 91, Bharadwaja's Feast. Soon as he saw the prince's mind to rest that day was well inclined, he sought Kaikeyi's son to please with hospitable courtesies. Then Bharat to the saint replied, "Our wants are more than satisfied. The gifts which honored strangers greet, and water for our weary feet, hast thou bestowed with friendly care, and every choice of woodland fare." Then Bharadwaja spoke, a smile playing upon his lips the while, "I know, dear prince, thy friendly mind will any fare sufficient find, but gladly would I entertain, and banquet all thine armed train. Such is my honest wish, do thou this longing of my heart allow. Why hast thou hither bent thy way, and made thy troops behind thee stay? Why unattended couldst thou not with friends and army seek this part?" Bharat, with reverent hands raised high, to the great hermit made reply, "My troops, for war of thee, O sage, I brought not to thy hermitage. Troops of a king or monarch's son, a hermit's home should ever shun. Behind me comes a mighty train, wide-spreading over the ample plain, where every chief and captain leads, men, elephants, and mettled steeds. I feared, O reverend sage, lest these might harm the holy ground and trees, springs might be marred and carts overthrown, so with the priests I came alone." "Bring all thy host," the hermit cried, and Bharat to his joy complied. Then to the chapel went the sire, where ever burnt the sacred fire, and first, in order due, with sips of water purified his lips. To Vishwakarma then he prayed, his hospitable feast to aid. "Let Vishwakarma hear my call, the God who forms and fashions all. A mighty banquet I provide, be all my wants this day supplied. Lord Indra at their head, the three, who guard the worlds I call to me, a mighty host this day I feed, be now supplied my every need. Let all the streams that eastward go, and those whose waters westering flow, both on the earth and in the sky, flow hither and my wants supply. Be some with ardent liquor filled, and some with wine from flowers distilled, while some their fresh cold streams retain, sweet as the juice of sugar cane. I call the gods, I call the band of minstrels that around them stand. I call the ha-ha and hoo-hoo, I call the sweet Visavashu, I call the heavenly wives of those, with all the bright apsaras. Alumbasha of beauty rare, the charmer of the tangled hair, Kritachi and Viswasi fair, Hema and Vima sweet to view, and lovely Nagananda too, and all the sweetest nymphs who stand by Indra or by Brahma's hand. I summon these with all their train, and Tambaru to lead the strain. Here let Kuvera's garden rise, which far in northern Kuru lies. For leaves let cloth and gems entwine, and let its fruit be nymphs divine. Let Soma give the noblest food, to feed the mighty multitude, of every kind for tooth and lip, to chew, to lick, to suck and sip. Let rats, where fairest flowers abound, spring from the trees that bloom around. Each sort of wine to woo the taste, and meats of every kind be placed." Thus spake the hermit self-restrained, with proper tone by rules ordained, on deepest meditation bent, in holy might preeminent. Then, as with hands in reverence raised, absorbed in thought he eastward gazed, the deities he thus addressed came each in semblance manifest. Delicious gales that cooled the frame from Malaya and Dodder came, that kissed those scented hills and threw auspicious fragrance where they blew. Then falling fast in sweetest showers came from the sky immortal flowers, and all the airy region round with heavenly drums was made to sound. Then breathed a soft celestial breeze, then danced the bright apsaras. The minstrels and the gods advanced, and warbling lutes the soul entranced. The earth and sky that music filled, and through each ear it softly trilled. as from the heavenly coils it fell, with time and tune it tempered well. Soon as the minstrels ceased to play, and the air celestial died away, the troops of Bharat saw amazed what Vishwakarma's art had raised. On every side, 5 leagues around, all smooth and level lay the ground, with fresh green grass that charmed the sight, like sapphires blent with lazulite. There the wood apple hung its load, the mango and the citron glowed, the bell and scented jack were there, and Apella with fritters fair. There, brought from northern Kuru stood, rich in delight, the glorious wood, and many a stream was seen to glide, with flowering trees along its side. Their mansions rose with 4 wide halls, and elephants and charger stalls, and many a house of royal state, triumphal arch and bannered gate. With noble doorways sought the sky, like a pale cloud, a palace high, which far and wide rare fragrance shed, with wreaths of white and garlanded. Square was its shape, its halls were wide, with many a seat and couch supplied. Drink of all kinds, and every meat, such as celestial gods might eat. Then at the bidding of the seer, Kaikeyi's strong-armed son drew near, and passed within that fair abode, which with the noblest jewels glowed. Then, as Vasistha led the way, the counsellors in due array followed delighted and amazed, and on the glorious structure gazed. Then Bharat, Raghu's son, drew near the kingly throne with prince and peer, whereby the chowri in the shade of the white canopy was laid. Before the throne he humbly bent, and honored Rama reverent. Then in his hand the chowri bore, and sat where sits a counsellor. His ministers and household priests sat by degrees from chief to least. Then sat the captain of the host, and all the men he honored most. Then when the saint his order gave, each river with enchanted wave rolled milk and curds divinely sweet before the Prince Bharat's feet, and dwelling fair on either side, with gay white plaster beautified, the heavenly roofs were seen to lift the Brahman Bharadwaja's gift. Then, straight by Lord Kuvera sent, gay with celestial ornament, of bright attire and jewels shine, came 20,000 nymphs divine. The man on whom those beauties glanced, that moment felt his soul entranced. With them from London's blissful shades came 20,000 heavenly maids. Tumbaru, Narad, Gopal came, and Sutanu like radiant flame. The kings of Gandharva throng, and ravished Bharat with their song. Then spoke the saint, and swift obeyed Alumbasha, the fairest maid, and Mishrakeshi, bride the veil, Ramana, Pundrika too, and danced to him with graceful ease the dances of Apsaris. All chaplet dead by gods are worn, by Chitrarath's graves at dawn, bloomed by the saint's command arrayed on branches in Prayaga's shade. When at the saint's command the bridge made music with the Vilva trees, to wave in rhythmic beat began the boughs of its mighty bolan. And holy fig trees wore the look of dancers as their leaflets shook, the fair tamala, palm and pine, with trees that tower and plants that twine, the swiftly varying forms displayed of stately dame or bending maid. Here man the foaming wine-cup quaffed, here drank of milk full many a draught, and tasted meats of every kind, well dressed, whatever pleased their mind. Then beauteous women 7 or 8 stood ready by each man to wait. Beside the stream his limbs they stripped, and in the cooling water dipped. And then the fair ones, sparkling-eyed, with soft hands rubbed his limbs and dried, and sitting on the lovely bank, held up the wine-cup as he drank. Nor did the grooms forget to feed camel and mule and ox and steed, for there were stores of roasted grain, of honey and of sugar cane. So fast the wild excitement spread among the warriors Bharat led, that all the mighty army threw, the groom no more his charger knew. And he who drove might seek in vain to tell his elephant again. With every joy and rapture fired, entranced with all the heart desired, the myriads of the host that night revelled delirious with delight. Urged by the damsels at their side, in wild delight the warriors cried, "Never will we seek Ayodhya, no, nor yet to Dandak forest go. Here will we stay, and many happy fate on Bharat and Rama wait." Thus cried the army gay and free, exulting in their lawless glee, both infantry and those who rode on elephants or steeds bestrode. 10,000 voices shouting, "This is heaven indeed for perfect bliss!" With garlands decked they idly strayed, and danced and laughed and sang and played. At length, as every soldier eyed, with food like Amrit satisfied, each dainty cake and tempting meat, no longer had he care to eat. The soldier, servant, dame, and slave received whatever the wish might crave. As each in new wrought clothes arrayed, enjoyed the feast before him laid, each man was seen in white attire, unstained by spot or speck of mire. None was athirst or hungry there, and none had dust upon his hair. On every side in woody dells was milky food in bubbling wells, and there were all-supplying cows, and honey dropping from the boughs. Nor wanted lakes of flour-made drink, with piles of meat upon the brink, boiled, stewed, and roasted very cheer, pichick and jungle fowl and deer. There was the flesh of kid and boar, and dainty sauce in endless store, with juice of flowers concocted well, and soup that charmed the taste and smell, and pounded fruits of bitter taste, and many a butt was ready placed. Down by each river's shelving side there stood great basins well supplied, and laid therein of dazzling sheen white brushes for the teeth were seen, and many a covered box wherein was sandal powdered for the skin, and mirrors bright with constant care, and piles of new attire were there, and store of sandals and of shoes, thousands of pairs, for all to choose. Iron jewels, combs for hair and beard, umbrellas fair and bows appeared. Lakes gleamed that lent digestive aid, and some for pleasant bathing made, with waters fair and smooth inclined, for camels, horses, mules, and kine. Their saudi barley heaped on high, their countless cattle to supply. The golden grain shone fair and bright, as sapphires o'er the ledger light. To all the gathered host it seemed as if that magic scene they dreamed, and wonder, as they gazed, increased at Bharadwaja's glorious feast. Thus in the hermit's grove they spent that night in joy and merriment, blessed as the gods who take their ease under the shade of Nandan's trees. Each minstrel bade the saint adieu, and to his blissful mansion flew, and every stream and heavenly dame returned as swiftly as she came. Canto 92. Bharat's Farewell. So Bharat with his army spent the watches of the night content, and gladly with the morning's light drew near his host the anchorite. When Bharadwaja saw him stand, with hand in reverence joined to hand, when fires of worship had been fed, he looked upon the prince and said, "O blameless son, I pray thee tell, did the past night content thee well? Say if the feast my care supplied, thy host of followers gratified." His hands he joined, his head he bent, and spoke in answer reverent to the most high and radiant sage who issued from his hermitage. "Well have I passed the night, thy feast gave joy to every man and beast, and I, great lord, and every peer were satisfied with sumptuous cheer. Thy banquet has delighted all, from highest chief to meanest thrall, and rich attire and drink and meat banish the thought of toil and heat. And now, O hermit good and great, a boon of thee I supplicate. To Rama's side my steps I bend, do thou with friendly eye command. O tell me how to guide my feet to virtuous Rama's lone retreat. Great hermit, I entreat thee say, how far from here and which the way?" Thus, by fraternal love inspired, the chieftain of the saint inquired. Then thus replied the glorious seer, of matchless might, of vows austere: "Ere the fourth leg from here be passed, amid a forest wild and vast, stands Chitrakota's mountain tall, lovely with wood and waterfall. North of the mountain thou wilt see the beauteous stream Mandakini, where swarm the waterfowl below, and gay trees on the margin grow. Then will a leafy court between the river and the hill be seen. It is Rama's, and the princely pair of brothers live for certain there. Hence to the south thine army lead, and then more southward still proceed. So shalt thou find his lone retreat, and there the son of Raghu meet. Soon as the ordered march they knew, the widows of the monarch flew, leaving their cars most meet to ride, and flocked to Bharadwaja's side. There, with the good Sumitra queen, Kaushalya, sad and worn, was seen, caressing, still with sorrow faint, the feet of that illustrious saint. Kaikeyi too, her longings crossed, reproached of all, her object lost, before the famous hermit came, and clasped his feet, overwhelmed with shame. With circling steps she humbly went around the saint preeminent, and stood not far from Bharat's side, with heart oppressed and heavy-eyed. Then the great seer, who never broke one holy vow, to Bharat spoke. "Speak, Raghu's son, I fain would learn the story of its queen in turn." Obedient to the high request, by Bharadwaja thus addressed, his reverent hands together laid, he, skilled in speech, his answer made. "She whom, O saint, thou seest here, a goddess in her form appear, was the chief consort of the king, now worn with fast and sorrowing. As Aditi in days of yore, then all-preserving Vishnu bore, Kaushalya bore with happy faith Lord Rama of the Lion's Gate. She who, transfixed with torturing pangs, on her left arm so fondly hangs, as when her withering leaves decay, droops by the wood the acacia's spray. Sumitra, pained with war is she, the consort second of the tree. 2 princely sons the lady bare, fair as the gods in heaven are fair. And she, the wicked dame through whom my brothers' lives are wrapped in gloom, and mourning for his offspring dear, the king was sought his heavenly spare. Proud, foolish-hearted, swift to ire, self-fancied darling of my sire, Kaikeyi, most ambitious queen, unlovely with her lovely mien. My mother she, whose impious will is ever bent on deeds of ill, in whom the root and spring I see of all this war which crushes me. Quick-breathing like a furious snake, with tears and sobs the hero spake, with reddened eyes aglow with rage, and Bharadwaja, mighty sage, supreme in wisdom, calm and grave, in words like these good counsel gave. "O Bharat, hear the words I say, on her the fault thou must not lay, for many a blessing yet will spring from banished Rama's wandering." And Bharat, with the promise cheered, when circling round that saint revered, he humbly bade farewell, and then gave orders to collect his men. Prompt at the summons thousands flew, to cars which noble coursers drew, bright gleaming, glorious to behold, adorned with wealth of burnished gold. Then female elephants and male, gold-gartered, with flags that wowed the gale, marched with their bright bells' tinkling chime, like clouds when ends the summer time. Some cars were huge and some were light, for heavy draught or rapid flight, of costly price of every kind, with clouds of infantry behind. The dames Kaushalya at their head were in the noblest chariots led, and in every gentle bosom beat with hope the banished prince to meet. The royal Bharat, glory crowned, with all his retinue around, borne in a beauteous litter rode, like the young moon and sun that glowed. The army as it streamed along, cars, elephants in endless throng, showed, marching on its southward way, like autumn clouds in long array. Canto 93. Chitrakuta Insight. As through the woods its way pursued, that mighty bannered multitude, wild elephants in terror fled, with all the startled hordes they led. And bears and deer were seen on hill, in forest glade by every rill, wide as the sea from coast to coast, the high-souled Bharat's mighty host. Covered the earth as cloudy trains obscure the sky when fall the rains. The stately elephants he led, and countless steeds the land overspread, so closely crowded that between their serried ranks no ground was seen. Then when the host had travelled far, and steeds were worn who drew the car, the glorious Bharat thus addressed Vasistha of his lords the best. The spot, methinks, we now behold, of which the holy hermit told, for as his words described I trace each several feature of the place. Before us Chitrakuta shows, Mandakini beside us flows. afar umbrageous woods arise, like darksome clouds that veil the skies. Now tread these mountain beasts of mine on Chitrakota's fair incline. The trees their rain of blossoms shed, on tablelands beneath them spread, as from black clouds the floods descend, when the hard days of summer end. Saturna, look, the mountain sea, where heavenly minstrels wander free, and horses browse beneath the steep, countless as monsters in the deep. Scared by my host, the mountain deer, starting with tempest speed appear, like the long lines of cloud that fly in autumn through the windy sky. See, every warrior shows his head, with fragrant blooms and garlanded. All look like southern soldiers who lift up their shields of azure hue. This lovely ode beneath the hill that was so dark and drear and still, covered with man in endless dreams, now like Ayodhya's city seems. The dust which countless hoops excite obscures the sky and veils the light. But see, swift winds those clouds dispel, as if they strove to please me well. See, guided in their sweet carrier, by many a skilful charioteer, those cars by fleetest coursers drawn, race onward over glade and lawn. Look, startled as the host comes near, the lovely peacocks fly in fear, gorgeous as if the fairest blooms of art had glorified their plumes. Look, where the sheltering covert shows the trooping deer, both bucks and does, that occupy in countless hearts this mountain populous with birds. Most lovely to my mind appears this place, with every charm and ears. Fair as the road where tread the blest, here holy hermits take their rest. Then let the army onward press, and duly search its green recess. For the two lion lords till we Rama once more and Lakshman see. Thus Bharat spoke, and hero bands of men with weapon in their hands entered the tangled forest. Then a spire of smoke appeared in camp. Soon as they saw the rising smoke, to Bharat they returned and spoke. No fire where men are not, it is clear that Raghu's sons are dwelling here. Or if not here, those heroes dwell, whose mighty arms their foemen quell. Still other hermits here must be, like Rama, true and good as he. His ears attentive Bharat lent to their resistless argument. Then to his troops the chief who broke his foe's embattled army spoke. Here let the troops in silence stay, one step beyond they must not stray. Come Drishti and Sumandra, you, with me alone their path pursue. Their leader's speech the warriors heard, and from his place no soldier stirred, and Bharat bent his eager eyes where curling smoke was seen to rise. Their host his order well obeyed, and halting there in silence stayed, watching where from the thicket's shade they saw the smoke appear, and joy through all the army ran. Soon shall we meet, thought every man, the prince we hold so dear. End of Cantos 91, 92 and 93.